In my view, you can learn a really valuable lesson about marketing and how to be successful in marketing by looking at the career of one of the most famous sporting icons from the world of boxing. So if you know boxing, you might have heard of Floyd Mayweather, or Floyd Mayweather Jr. is his full name. He is basically the highest earning athlete of all time. He's earned best part, I think, $1 billion over his career. It might even be more than $1 billion by the stage. He fought 50 professional fights, never lost a fight. In some of his latter fights, he was earning literally tens, hundreds of millions of dollars per fight he fought. Now, what makes this guy so successful from a business perspective? So I'm not talking necessarily about his sporting achievements here. They're very impressive, of course. There are other people, though, who in that same industry of boxing have achieved almost equal success, or in some cases probably even more success and more public fame and notoriety. So what is it that made him so successful from a marketing perspective? He understood his niche. When he was active in his career, he became the guy that you wanted to see lose. That was his niche. He sure would talk the bluster and say he was the best ever and all those kind of things that everyone who's successful in that sport does. But really, the crux of his marketing, the crux of his argument, and the niche he occupied was being the boxer that you wanted to see lose, and you'd pay good money to see him lose. That was the whole point. There were a sort of core cohort of people who really liked the guy and wanted to see him win, but a lot of casual fans would pay good money week in, week out, in the desperate hope that the next challenger would be the person to knock him off his perch. And that's what enabled him to make so much money and be so successful throughout his career and kind of command these insane sums of money that are almost unbelievable. It wasn't the fact that he was necessarily the best from a skill perspective, although arguably he was if you look at his record. It's more the fact that he was able to market himself so successfully and also back it up at the same time. He kept people wanting more, except instead of wanting to see him succeed, people wanted to see him fail. Now obviously that's a bit of an oversimplification of the guy's career, but what is interesting is there's actually a really valuable marketing lesson that can be pulled out of that. And this marketing lesson is the fact that the more you can niche down and understand your role in the marketplace, your niche, your sort of specificity, the more successful you can be with your marketing. So a really common problem I encounter when working with businesses, when I first start talking to them, is that I'll say, hey, who do you sell to? And far too often it's, we sell to anyone who'll buy it. We sell to everyone. Well, if you sell to everyone, you're Amazon and you're competing with Amazon, you're Walmart, something like that. Most businesses don't occupy that space. Most businesses simply cannot survive on having a niche, and even businesses like Walmart or Amazon, they have their own niche. It's delivering a very wide range of goods at very affordable prices with quick delivery or fast in-store service or whatever it is. Obviously you could refine those niche propositions further, and I'm sure lots of work goes into that, but for the average business out on the street, especially the kinds of businesses I deal with, so business to business organizations, understanding your niche, your role in the marketplace, that is critical. If I look at my own business, when I first started going out on my own, when I finished up at my last conventional day job, I pitched myself as very much just a sort of digital marketer. I'd do your Facebook ads, I'd do your Google ads, I'd do your SEO, I'd set up your email campaigns. Whatever it is, I'd do everything because I was a digital marketing guy. That's very broad. Anyone who knows this industry knows that there are a whole load of specific disciplines and strategies and focuses within it. And over time, I honed what I focused on so that my niche now is really, it's business to business organizations. I work with businesses that sell to other businesses. I've got longer sales cycles. They're often in technology or manufacturing or import and distribution. I could basically draw you a really good example with a pen and paper in front of me of what my ideal customer looks like, and it's changed a lot from when I started, and it's been one of the things that's made me a lot more successful. On the sort of service or delivery side, I also don't focus on doing all of the implementation anymore. I'm actually much more focused on the advisory side and the strategy side. So looking at these business to business organizations and saying, hey, how can I assist you in understanding how to better improve your performance, match you up with the right suppliers, improve your processes, those kind of things, get your internal teams working more effectively. That's the niche I occupy. It's, business to business, digital marketing, advisory, and basically strategy work as well. And what that has done is allowed my business to actually become a lot more successful in the sense that I occupy a niche now. A lot of digital marketers do things like focus on Facebook ads for e-commerce businesses or retail or hospitality or whatever. They've got a niche. They occupy a specific space. So it can be a very nerve-wracking thing to do when you're starting out in business from a marketing perspective to actually niche down. It's always far more tempting to go out there and try and be everything to everybody. But when you try and be everything to everybody, it's far harder to make yourself heard. It's far harder to actually demonstrate your credibility within the marketplace. If you look at a totally unrelated field, if you look at something like aviation, professional pilots, commercial pilots, they specialize in certain aircraft. As far as I'm aware, they don't tend to, train once and be able to fly everything. They've got to specialize, they've got to niche down, because it's been proven time and time again that that's how you get the best results out of them. Same with surgeons. Obviously, there are some surgeons who are more specialized than others, but generally they'll develop a niche if it's orthopedics or cardiac surgery or brain surgery or whatever it is. Even within that, if we took something like an orthopedic surgeon, there are some who specialize more in hip replacements, and there are some who do knee replacements, and there are some who do pediatrics. They work specifically on surgery for children. And by having a specialization, by having a niche and understanding where you fit in the market, generally for any business, any organization, whatever they're doing, it makes your marketing more effective. It makes you stand out more. It makes it easier to actually line up and link up with your prospective customers. Someone who's looking for a specific service, if I use the example of my own business, if someone is a managing director of a business-to-business organization, they're sitting there unsure as to whether their digital marketing spend is being allocated efficiently and effectively, who are they more likely to call on? The services of someone like myself, who really focuses on that area and that type of organization, or are they more going to go with a digital marketing generalist who does a bit of Facebook ads and does a bit of Google ads and does a bit of everything? It's more likely that they're going to pick me than the other person. Now, it doesn't always happen that way, and there are lots of businesses who probably aren't sufficiently niched who still do well. But if you're struggling from that marketing strategy perspective, you want to make your marketing more effective, you want to get better cut through, you want to basically generate better results, I strongly encourage you to identify your niche. Where is your role in the marketplace? Who do you serve? Get specific with it. What types of organizations? What size? What locations? Who are the personas within those organizations? The job titles and functions you're trying to appeal to? What specific benefits do you provide? What problems do you solve? What is your focus? What do you do better than anyone else? Or what do you at least want to hang your hat on and be known for? If you do that, and obviously the world of niche identification and marketing is far broader than what I could ever cover in this video, and I'm going to do a lot more video and content on these topics. But basically, once you start down this path, you will generally find, at least in my experience, 99% of the time that this makes your marketing more effective. It is scary to do, because you're probably going to sit there and think, oh, well, at the moment I pitch myself as a generalist kind of business. I supply catering companies, for example, with catering equipment. But actually, if you niche down and say that you only do catering supplies for wedding catering businesses, suddenly you might lose out on the event space, commercial events or private parties or things like that. And that is entirely possible. You might wind up losing some work, but if you go through the niche selection process properly, what you'll wind up with is working with more clients or customers and selling more to people who actually align with your business and are actually more profitable anyway. Because the truth is that not all clients are profitable, and often it's the ones who are the best fit for you and your space in the niche or your space in the marketplace who actually generate the best results. So long story short, if you're wanting to make your marketing more effective, look to niche down. Who are you best placed to deal with and support? Because probably most businesses who haven't done this exercise and gone through this are guilty of trying to go too wide. And I know I do it myself. Businesses will come along sometimes who say, hey, we've heard of your services, we're not really in the space you deal with, but can you help us out? And there's always a temptation to do it, and it can be very hard to say no. It can be very nerve-wracking to think about actually turning that work down or focusing in. But what I can pretty much guarantee you is if you do niche down, you're going to get better results. So at the end of the day, start thinking about who it is that you're best placed to serve, who it is you're best placed to support, what kind of customers do you want to reach the most, who do you benefit the most. That is the sort of nucleus really of developing a good niche marketing process. I'll link to some useful resources as well that you might want to consider. I've got more content coming on this, but if you've got any questions in the interim, please feel free to reach out, leave a comment. You can email me on info@samfrost.co.nz. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe for more digital marketing advice, and I'll see you next time.